Fox Sports.
We are Black Force. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody. Another warm night in Boston. It is the Marlins and the Red Sox wrapping up this two-game set at Fenway Park, wrapping up the 4 games that they will play against one another in 2018. Expect another packed house here at the Fens. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. This close last night for the Marlins to knock off the best team in baseball. Unfortunately, late rallies not enough as the Red Sox got the last laugh.
Well, listen, you love to see the offense. The offense exploded, some great at-bats, some big home runs, all part of a great night offensively. At the end, surprisingly, the defense lets down, and the Red Sox once again get another victory, 3 out of 3 so far. So again, the Marlins trying to get one of this 4-game season series.
They will do that against David Price tonight, at least attempt to against David Price tonight. But last night we thought about it, we talked about it going into the game, that the Red Sox are good at hitting velocity.
Right.
And boy, did they ever hit the velocity last night.
Well, and they did. They put together quality at-bats, and they stayed out in front. That makes hitting velocity a little bit easier. So look where a lot of these pitches are. Now, some of them are good pitchers' pitches because this is a talented team. But when you're ahead in the count, you're looking for the fastball. You're looking out over the plate, and what does it tell you? 9 hits last night on pitches 95 miles per hour or over. By the way, that ties a season high in all of Major League Baseball. 4 teams have done it. Boston Red Sox have done it twice, including last night. So yes, in fact, they are one of the better fastball hitting teams.
Well, perhaps the game plan a little bit different tonight with Trevor Richards on the mound. This will be the second time this season that Richards faces Boston. I think it's fair to say he's a bit of a different pitcher now than he was back in April when he made his Major League debut, especially the column all the way to the right, the changeup.
Well, and that's what I think is going to be such a great weapon. Even if you go all the way back to that start against the Boston Red Sox, first time through the lineup, he gave up 1 single and struck out 4 batters. What's he doing now? Look all the way down. You see that changeup column, 19.4% up to almost 32% now. That's how much confidence he has built in that changeup, and it's going to have to be a huge weapon for him tonight if he wants to slow this Red Sox team down.
And on the flip side of this pitching matchup is David Price, 3rd lowest ERA in the second half of the season. Marlins will have their hands full tonight against the lefty. Richards and Price, last of 2 here at Fenway Park. We step aside. We're back with the first pitch coming up next. Is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Beautiful night here at Fenway Park. Maybe a little warm, but other than that, very nice. It is David Price to begin the night for the Boston Red Sox. He has found another gear in the second half, so the Marlins will try to figure him out tonight. Here is a look at the lineup presented to you by Southwest. Rafael Ortega, big hit last night late in the ball game. He is back in the leadoff spot. Brian Anderson hit second. JT Realmuto and Starlin Castro went back-to-back homers in the middle innings last night. We'll see if they can figure out David Price. This is a guy who perhaps in the last couple of years has not been what they hoped he would be, but last few times out, he has certainly been that guy.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's complaining now, certainly here in the second half, and with this team playing as good a baseball as they're playing right now, David Price is probably one of the favorites around here. Chris Sale happens to be on the disabled list. Well, here's some facts for you. 16-2 in his last 18 starts, so he's winning just about every time out. In fact, 8-0 in his last 8. 7 straight quality starts. He has been on a roll, to say the least. So it's Rafael Ortega to lead things off. That one is a little in for ball one, and we are underway. Ortega, 2 for 5 last night. Couple of RBIs on that blooper into left that brought home 2, and at the moment last night it gave the Marlins a lead. A lot of back and forth in the late innings of last night's ball game, but ultimately a fielder's choice and an error leading to a Boston Red Sox victory, their 91st of the year. 1-1 to Ortega. That one on the ground to second base for Kinsler. And there is one away. All right, let's get you the Auto Nation scouting report of David Price. A lot of things going well right now. The Red Sox, and certainly for Price. Hot hand, 4-0, 109. Yes, 1.09 ERA. Last 6 starts. It is by far the best run he has been on as a Red Sox. 195 batting average against, 1 home run allowed. Sinking feeling. Now, there's a couple of different things going on here. Price's command and control has been absolutely lights out through this great run. Primary pitch, the sinker. That sinking fastball, 92, 93 miles an hour. 133 batting average against, but he's actually throwing it less. More changeup, that's been a good thing, but it's affecting all his pitches. Last one is it takes 2. Pay attention to this. Sandy Leon doing the catching tonight, and that's kind of the key to this. Vasquez was his catcher for the first 17, 4.68 ERA. Last 7 starts, 158 with Leon behind the plate. 0-1 to Brian Anderson, cut out and missed at the top of the zone at 92 miles an hour. 0-2 to the Marlins third baseman, who was 2 for 4 last night. A run scored, a double. Also had a walk. And Price's 0-2 pitch in there for a called strike 3. Might have been a little off the edge, but Scott Berry says strike 3, and there are 2 down for JT Realmuto, who was looking for a hit last night and found one over the monster. Yeah, good to see JT turn velocity around once again. A no-doubter up over the green monster. Great swing right there. And usually you hit a ball or a home run like that, it leads to something more. I kind of expect JT to start heating back up again. Marlins fans know that JT been in a little bit of a slump coming in. Certainly an impressive night last night. You see Price really dialing it up on the outside corner. It has been a big part. He is part of his success moving over to the left side. You see right there, he's on the left side of the rubber, the first base side. Really honing in on that outside corner, playing with the changeup, and also that backdoor cutter that he likes to throw to right-handed hitters. He's found a new lane. Traditionally was more towards the middle right side and has since slid over about 8 starts ago. To the Red Sox defensively for tonight's ball game. Benintendi in left, Bradley Jr. in center, Betts over in right. Nunez, Bogarts, Kinsler. Pierce gets the start at first base, and as I mentioned, Leon behind the plate making his 66th start. 3.19 catcher's ERA, best in baseball. Realmuto line drive off the glove of Bogarts and into left field for a 2-out single.
Nice job. 2-strike hitting for Real Muto. Just out of the reach of Bogarts.
Yeah, nice swing. A little bit of a mistake. Catches probably a little bit too much plate. You see Leon kind of reaching back more towards the white of the plate, but a great swing by JT. He loves to pull the baseball, especially against the lefties. Gets a base hit here in the first.
So 1 on 2 out for Starlin Castro was the back half of that back-to-back home runs last night. Also added a triple, part of a 2-for-4 night. Tripled off the center field wall, homered to right center field in last night's ball game. In there for a called strike. Not a lot of history between the current Marlins and David Price, but Starlin Castro 8 for 20 with 2 doubles against David Price.
David Price can be slow and deliberate. It's kind of how he operates. It's not about tempo. Slow it down with the best of them.
Out to right field, this is Mookie Betts to make the play. Price works around the 2-out single. Trevor Richards toes the slab next. But a stranded runner for the Marlins in the top of the first inning. So now Trevor Richards will face the Red Sox lineup, presented to you by Southwest. Mookie Betts leading things off, has himself squarely in the MVP discussion in the American League. And he's there with the guy who is hitting 4th in the lineup and 2 points ahead of him for the batting crown. That's JD Martinez, who is at .338. Martinez, first year with the Red Sox, the DH. You got Xander Bogaerts and Eduardo Nunez. Nunez, of course, involved in the win last night on the ground ball. Trevor Richards, his 20th start of the season, made his big league debut against this very same club in April.
Yeah, 2.77 ERA over his last 7 starts. He's been throwing the ball pretty well, and you mentioned his first time out, his first big league start was actually against the Boston Red Sox, April 2nd. I was really impressed that first time through the lineup, 1 through 9, only a single and 4 strikeouts, had a good changeup, and I expect to see more changeup today. Keep your eyes on it. It's going to be a good pitch against this Red Sox team, as we documented here in the 2 games how good they are at hitting the fastball.
First pitch of the night for Richards is a fastball, and it's in there on the outside corner to Mookie Betts. 0-1. Reached base 4 times last night, 15th time this season that he's done that. And shoots one out to right field. Ortega going back will make the catch. Nothing routine about a fly ball to right.
That's right. Let's get you the Marlins defensively for tonight's ball game, where Teddy introduced himself to you over in right. Dean gets left. Galloway in center. Anderson gets the start at third base once again. Riddle, Castro, Rojas, JT Realmuto making his 92nd start behind home plate. How about a .992 fielding percentage? Throwing out 37% of base runners.
Now Andrew Benintendi takes that one low and away. Benintendi 1 for 5 last night, a double and an RBI. Another scorcher here at Fenway Park. 94 degrees. That feels like 101. So it's a tick hotter than yesterday.
According to the weather, we should feel some relief right around 9 o'clock.
Oh, good.
Well, I just happened to see that.
Terrific. Oddly enough, it's like something like 10 degrees cooler in Miami.
Right. In rain.
Yeah.
Figure. There
That
it is.
is that changeup.
It certainly is. And listen, Boston Red Sox haven't seen Richards in months. I mean, this is what interleague play kind of turns into at times. You have a weapon, you use it, and you see it right there. Benintendi down to a knee, trying to just come up with some contact. Look at the spin, almost sideways as it runs away from Benintendi's back. Give you some numbers real quick. Four-seam fastball, change and curve. That's the arsenal. Now, he doesn't throw that curve too much, but it had a little bit more value his last time out. Changeup, hitters hitting 157 against it. One man has actually hit that changeup for a home run. His name is Matt Carpenter, and he's not having a good year, is he?
No, not at all.
58 of 98 strikeouts on that changeup. And as you just saw, throws the lefties and righties both. Will be a big pitch tonight. The Red Sox has hit a home run on a changeup in their last 11 games.
Nothing in 2 to Pierce. Realmuto sets in way inside, hits the target, and a called strike 3. Maybe a little off the corner, but Scott Berry gives Richards the benefit of the doubt. Through 1 here at Fenway Park, scoreless. Are with us on a Wednesday night, last of this short 2-game series between the Marlins and the Red Sox, as David Price gets set to face Derek Dietrich, Austin Dean, and Miguel Rojas in the second. His first pitch to Dietrich is in there for a called strike. Dietrich 0 for 4 last night, did have a walk. With that 0 for, snapped a career-long 8-game hit streak. This one drilled down the right field line toward the pole, and it is gone. A solo home run for Derek Dietrich to lead off the second inning. Marlins in front 1-0.
Now, there aren't too many lefties that go changeup, lefty on lefty. We just saw David Price do it, and I mentioned coming in, he had not been giving up any home runs. My, oh my, just the second home run his last 7 starts. Dietrich all over it. 85 miles an hour. Watch the changeup. It's up. And Dietz unloads. That ball ends up splitting the plate right about the belt. Knows he got it the minute he hit it.
Long gone for his 16th homer this season, and now it's Austin Dean who takes a called strike. Well, the Marlins have come to town and now hit 4 home runs through the first 10 innings against the Boston Red Sox. Fair to say the ballpark plays a little different than the one we call home.
Oh yeah, I think so.
a little bit.
Well, you know, a lot of times what ends up happening when you play in a pitcher's park, and obviously certainly I know South Florida, when you go on the road, you get a little, I'll use the word giddy, you know, you get excited to go play in a new ballpark, maybe one you don't see. If it does favor the hitter a little bit, a lot of times you'll see the hitters kind of a little more enthusiasm, if you know what I mean.
Well, let me ask you this, because I heard some chatter around the cage today, guys saying, don't change your approach, don't change your approach, we're leaving tonight. So, you know, you come to this ballpark, you know they're going back home where, again, it's a little bit different in terms of the home run conditions, the power conditions.
Yeah, you certainly have, and you can hit it out to all parts, and that's what we've learned certainly here through the first 10 innings. Obviously a couple of ball games, but the ball jumps to left, center, and right. You just really got to deal with the dimensions, but it does favor the hitters. I mean, you got a lot of room to work here.
One out for Miguel Rojas. Gets the start tonight at first base and takes one outside for ball 1. 1 for 5 last night, scored a run. Don't forget about the Ram game break coming up in the 7th inning. Check in with the guys in the studio a little bit later on tonight. Ball and a strike to Rojas. Marlins enter play 8-8 against the American League East. Yes, they have yet to beat the Boston Red Sox in 3 tries. They split with the Yankees. Took 2 out of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles. 4 out of 6 from, look out, from the Tampa Bay Rays. And we'll see the Toronto Blue Jays coming up on the next homestand starting Friday night. Friday, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. It will be Aaron Sanchez and Dan Straley Friday night. Marlins live pregame show on the air at 6:30. First pitch a little after 7. Ball and 2 strikes.
Now for Dietrich, just flashing back, 5th home run against a lefty this season. 3rd home run in the month of August. I think he felt a little left out last night.
Think so?
I do.
On the ground to first base, Pierce wins the foot race.
Join us as we celebrate Game of Thrones night this Friday. Declare your allegiance to House Targaryen, Stark, Lannister, or Tyrell when you purchase a ticket package and receive an exclusive T-shirt with your house crest. Take a photo on the famous Iron Throne. Visit marlins.com/GOT.
That setup means business right there.
Yeah, I see a problem.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Well, how are we going to play the game?
You move it.
Play around it?
You nudge it. You nudge it to one side or the other.
I favor playing around it. That might be interesting.
Right. Like a skill competition at
Well,
the All-Star
that's right.
break.
Imagine what a foul ball looks like. Watch out for the throne.
Right. Ball goes up above home plate. Catcher trips on something.
Needs 16 stitches in his
right
abdomen.
Exactly. Yeah. JT Riddle pops this one up left side. It is Bogarts to make the play. And we are through an inning and a half, but Derek Dietrich takes David Price for a ride down the right field line. A 1-0 Marlins lead here at Fenway Park.
That's going to make the guys standing next to me very happy because they are a couple of big Marlins fans. This is Doug and his son Chris. They won the road trip on the fantasy auction. What an awesome prize to be able to come to Fenway, have a great time. But you guys have been here since Sunday. How have you spent the past couple of days?
Well, we started with a duck tour provided by the Marlins Foundation, which was really fun. Met some family, and then we're staying at the same hotel as the Marlins. So running into the players, in the lobby and talking to them there. And just seeing historic sites around the city has been really great.
Chris, what has been your favorite part of the trip so far? I'm going to guess that it was having lunch today with me in the North End.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that was pretty good. Being able to talk to some of the coaches and players, really special.
Really set him up for that one, by the way.
I know.
Hey, but one cool thing about being able to participate in the fantasy auction, not only do you win a cool trip or prize, but you get to help out a great cause too. What would you say to encourage people to participate in next year's fantasy auction?
Well, we participated over the last 3 years. Like 2 years ago, we did the Hall of Fame trip, which was unbelievable. So this trip has been just great. We haven't gone to Fenway. I've been to Fenway before. So you get this great experience, and at the same time, the Marlins Foundation is a great charity. It's really helping out people. So, yeah, you're spending money, but it's really for a good cause, and you're ending up with a great experience. So next year, depending on where the trip is next year, I would encourage everybody to participate in the auction, but you might have to be bidding against us, so it could be trouble.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time, and we hope that you guys enjoy the game tonight on what's a beautiful night here in Boston. Not hot at all, Chris. We're definitely not sweating.
Nope, not at all.
Nice and comfortable over here. All right, guys, back to you.
Jessica and guys, thanks so much. Yeah, really cool. I, of course, got to take part in my the first fantasy auction this year, and it's great to see everybody getting involved. And, oh, look, we've got Jessica Blaylock, the two gentlemen that we just talked to, and the genius behind all of our operations, the great John Sulcer, or at least that's what the card says.
Mad scientist. There he is.
That's our producer, John Sulcer. As J.D. Martinez strikes out, that's the third strikeout for Richards and third in a row if you go back to the first inning.
I'll tell you what, Richards went right at him. I'll tell you, it was almost like J.D. was thinking, all right, I'm going to try to defend against that changeup or maybe look for it and then do my best to deal with his fastball if I have to. See the swing right there, 91 miles an hour, not much behind it.
The first strikeout was on the changeup, the last two on the fastball. So again, maybe there's You know, all his scouting reports, you'd hope that nationally Trevor Richards' changeup success is getting some run.
Oh, there's no
Surprise
doubt.
him.
Well, there's no doubt about it. But again, the game planning going on, like anybody going up against Richards, we've seen enough of him this year. This is his 20th start. You're sitting on one. You're going up there against one. You're not going up there against both. You say to yourself, I'm going to sit dead red and try to defend against that changeup. But you're not looking to put your best swing on it. You're just looking to defend it if you have to. Some, I've seen this, and again, I thought Carpenter did this. He's the only one to take him deep, actually went up there, lefty on lefty, looked for the changeup and actually got it, and was able to hit a home run against him, but we haven't seen a whole lot of success on anybody who's really tried to sit on that changeup.
Xander Bogaerts did not go. A ball and strike.
I mean, wouldn't you agree? Well, you see that. I've not hit a home run on a changeup in the last 14 days, 11 games. That's the fewest in Major League Baseball. And from your perspective, not just mine, when you watch the opposition, how they present their swing or, you know, get in the box, how that starts to go.
Liner right to Castro.
What do you see? I mean, do you not see a lot of check swings and a lot of different takes and guys who are kind of at times frustrated with what's kind of going on in the box?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe even more so than some of the guys that throw a little bit harder in the rotation.
You're absolutely right, and that's the thing. I mean, it's not like he's the only one throwing it. It's not in this city Daisuke Matsuzaka's gyro ball from 10 years ago. I mean, other guys have changeups, but for whatever reason, and you could speak to this a lot more, guys just aren't picking it up. I think Don Mattingly said yesterday, leading up to this start, that when it comes out of his hand, it looks like a fastball.
Well, he hides the ball so well. He's absolutely right. And when what he's really saying is that the mechanics, there's no mechanical breakdown. When you see the arm slot for the fastball, it's identical to the changeup, number one and number two. But what I love about his changeup is it does two things. It's got depth, meaning it's got downward motion vertically, and it's got some arm side run typically. So it does two different things. A lefty, it's a nightmare pitch. For a righty, he's got to concentrate and really work hard to get it up off the dirt if, in fact, he even gets one to hit.
Ball and the strike to Eduardo Nunez, who rips this one foul. 1-2 to Nunez, who was 2 for 5 last night. A run scored, had a home run and an RBI, and grounded into that fielder's choice that ultimately led to the game-winning run in the bottom of the 9th inning. A 1-2 from Richards. Slap foul.
You see the difference between the two swings we just saw went from Nunez. That a defensive hack with 2 strikes on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball that was caught a lot of plate. The one before it, foul by a mile, a changeup that he also barreled up, but again, timing was off.
Inside, right under the hands of Nunez, 2-2. A 6-game hit streak for Nunez. 8 for 23 with 3 ribbies in that span. That changeup up, but it's fouled into the seats. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. A win last night for Boston to snap a 3-game skid. Doesn't sound like much, but they are the only team in baseball that has not lost 4 straight games. On the ground, foul, says the third base umpire, Paul Nauer.
Good effort by Brian Anderson. My goodness, that wasn't foul by much. So he's okay. I'm shaking that shoulder just a little bit. Looks like BA's good to go.
Again, the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. Count runs full. Richards with 3 strikeouts. Last time out he had 9. It was 1 shy of a career high. 10 strikeouts against the Dodgers back in April. That was right before he went back down to the minor leagues. Worked on a few things, and since coming back up has been a much better pitcher. Not that he wasn't good already. He was, after all, the Marlins pitcher of the year last year. But he's fine-tuned some things. And in his last 7 starts, 1-2 with a 2.77 ERA.
Nunez putting together quite an at-bat. You've seen from Richards the fastball away, the changeup in, and well, trying to defend both. Already seen 11 pitches. Back to that first inning, Richards incredibly efficient, picked up a couple strikeouts. Entire inning, 9 pitches, 8 strikes.
And on the 12th pitch of the at-bat, Nunez ties the game. Over the monster for the 2nd consecutive night. We're even at 1.
Nunez, multiple looks at the changeup in. Gets a changeup in, 3-2. Able to keep this one fair. Fouled off a couple of balls. Down the third base line, almost like a progression. Think back to the one he lined into the seats, then the one down the line. Well, this changeup stays up, splits the plate. It's up over the green monster.
Number 9 on the year for Nunez. That'll bring up Ian Kinsler. Now Kinsler out to right field, into the glove of Ortega. Tied up at 1-2. Ted Williams would have been 100-year-old tomorrow. Throughout the night, we'll celebrate the life of the splendid Splinter. Of solo home runs for each side, tied at 1. Time for the Toyota Inside Look. Tomorrow would have been Ted Williams' 100th birthday. A couple of stints in the military, missed entire seasons along the way of his Hall of Fame career. Wingman in the Korean War was John Glenn. Again, we'll be looking at different parts of the life and baseball career of Ted Williams throughout the night. Twice an MVP, 6 times a batting champ, 2 triple crowns. 2 triple crowns. I know there weren't 30 teams then. See that 502 perch. It's way out there in right field. Of course, there is a red seat right below that Ford sign. It's 502 feet away that Ted Williams hit a home run way over there.
And nobody's gotten close since.
No, not at all. It's a called strike 3. Galloway is retired for the first out here in the 3rd. 3rd strikeout for Price, first time through the order. Back to the top for Rafael Ortega. He grounded out to Kinsler at second base back in the 1st. Takes a look at ball 1. A high chop over the mound. Price gets it, but Pierce can't dig it out, and Ortega will reach. Not an easy play by any stretch of the imagination, so a base hit for Ortega.
Make the ballpark your paradise on Sunday for Margaritaville at Marlins Park. Arrive early to sit back, relax, and enjoy the pregame festivities. All Parrot Heads, Beach Bums, and Marlins fans that purchase a ticket package will receive an exclusive Margaritaville t-shirt. Get your tickets at marlins.com/Margaritaville.
After the game. For you, it's after the game.
I'll tell you, that was a pretty impressive effort by David Price. The throw was standing. He ended up in short right field when it was all said and done.
He did. Like Patriots wideout trying to catch that one over his shoulder on the high chop.
Yeah, he tried to look like Tom Brady on the throw to first. That didn't go so well.
So it's Brian Anderson who struck out looking back in the 1st inning. Price deals a strike.
Now the righties from Price tonight. First time through that lineup, 4-seam fastball. You'll see the sinker. We talked about that already. The cut fastball and the changeup. Lefties, sinker, change, and cutter. Really not too many 4-seamers.
Yeah, the pitch usage has changed. We talked about these last 7 starts that he's really found another level. He's not using the fastball as much.
And it's actually made his fastball more valuable. He's using his changeup a bunch more, and you see this. This is really what he has been keying in on. 27 strikes of 34 pitches. He's attacking the strike zone. So a few things kind of going his way in regards to this run.
Hot shot to Pierce, who throws to the second base bag. Bogart's got his toe on second base to get the lead runner, Ortega.
My goodness, this whole play felt like the Red Sox were walking the tightrope and was able to get it out at second base. All right, look at Pierce. One hop smash right at him, bobbled it. Decides to go to second base. There's a lot on this throw, but it's not very accurate. And watch Bogarts change his feet. I'll tell you, this is impressive. Watch him drag his toes across the top of the bag.
So that was like a wide receiver trying to get the toe in for a catch.
Corner of the end zone.
Right, okay, all right. So
we've talked throughout the couple of games here in Boston how athletic this team is. Generally, we're talking about the outfielders, but boy, oh boy, their infield's pretty athletic as well.
Well, more hard contact for Brian Anderson, although an out recorded on the play. That was a hot smash over to first. And there for a called strike to JT Realmuto. Real Muto to the gap in left center field. That will get down. Anderson on his way to third. And Freddie Gonzalez waving him around. A throw from Bogarts, a double clutch. Oh, just enough for Anderson to score. That slight delay in center field. Anderson beats the throw, and it's 2-1 Miami.
Well, JT Realmuto, stay hot. Brian Anderson on his horse from first base. Well, he's going to be able to take the lead. Great slide into home. Watch Andy get that hand just across. My goodness. No room to spare. Double clutch it short. That is the difference at home and the lead in this game. Let's give you another look at the swing. JT all over it once again. Second rocket in this ballgame. Splits the gap. Bradley Jr. fields it well. Double clutch right there. That is that extra step. Anderson picks up the advantage.
So now the Marlins back in front, and the back and forth that started last night continues here. Marlins erased 3 deficits last night before ultimately losing the game. They have taken 2 leads. Here we are on the top of the third.
Well, and again, usually we've talked about this when the Marlins are playing good baseball, taking advantage of some maybe missed opportunities on the Boston Red Sox side of things. Most people tell you the ground ball to Pierce probably could have been a double play. Didn't get the double play. You gain an extra out and you take full advantage of it. You score yourself a run. That little bobble right there. Yeah, they got the out at second base, but as hard as that was hit, probably thinking 2.
Castro takes up and away. 2 balls and a strike. Castro a fly ball out to Betts to end the first inning. Into right field. Betts coming in. He'll play this one off a hop. In to score is Realmuto on the RBI by Castro.
Oh, how about some 2-out lightning once again? Offense kicked it into gear about halfway through yesterday's ball game, and they're looking to pick right up. My goodness, doing it against David Price. Comes in, American League's hottest pitcher. This cutter splits the plate, doesn't hit its target. Starlin stays inside. Betts kind of forfeits any chance of throwing JT out at home, going for the catch. I was a bit surprised he went down to his knees. I thought he was going to field it and come up throwing.
Right, like kind of caught in between.
Castro did hit a rocket off the bat, but it was perfectly placed. Betts playing back and certainly respecting his opposite field power. We saw that last night.
Here's Dietrich, whose pull power was on display in the second inning with a solo home run. Marlins have tacked on 2 here in the third and lead it here at Fenway Park. And that got Dietrich in the forearm or the hand.
Well, you might be right. It might be a combination of both. Looks like he's kind of grabbing his right wrist.
And for a guy that gets hit quite a bit, not often do you see him get hit in an unprotected area like that forearm or wrist. Let's see where it got him.
You're definitely right about the wrist. The question is where. Larry Hill checking things out. Looks like he's going to be all right and stay in the game. Happy to report that I've said that for the last 2 years.
Yes.
As many times as he's been hit, I've ever seen Dietrich leave the field.
18th time he's been hit this year. 90th time, the most in club history. Now, David Price had allowed 2 runs or fewer in each of his 6 starts since the All-Star break, a career-long streak. least that tied a career-long streak. But the Marlins have tagged him for 3 runs, 2 2/3 innings into his outing here tonight. A chance for more as Austin Dean digs in. Strike to Dean, who struck out in the 2nd inning.
Well, you see the numbers. That's what we were talking about here in the 2nd half. 6 starts, 4-0 record, 109 ERA, and the strikeouts and the walk ratio are just absolutely off the charts. That's what the Marlins have done against him. Nobody else has been able to do in the 2nd half. It's a testament to their approach, and I'll tell you what, they've been putting together some quality at bats. I mentioned a little earlier this inning, taking full advantage of an opportunity, maybe an opportunity for a double play that didn't get turned, turning that into 2 runs and looking for more. You mentioned it, you know, Price's numbers, how he's kind of changed him around. I gave it to you in batting average against, talking about the sinker, but he's throwing it about 10% less than he did in the 1st half and throwing his changeup about 10% more in the 2nd half. Of course, we've seen the backdoor cutter a number of times to the right-handed hitters already.
Oh, 0-2 to the Marlins left fielder. Shoots it foul. We'll see another. Well, it's been that cutter that's maybe been the most affected pitch of where he sets up on the rubber. As you mentioned before, kind of moving over to that first base side. He said, I feel like the thing it's helped me most with is that backdoor cutter. If I can continue to throw that pitch the way I've thrown it, it makes everything else much better.
Well, and you ask why would it be effective, more effective? He's actually, from the first base side of the rubber, able to start the ball off the plate and get it back to that corner, which is almost that's a very difficult pitch to hit.
Right back up the middle off of Price, and Dean is out at first base. Off of Price, who is the first Red Sox into the dugout. Marlins will take one more look. Got him off of both hands. It may have gotten his bare hand, his left hand too, but he's able to carry on over to first. And it looks like get Dean by a 1/4 of a step. Hopefully Price is all right. Marlins up 3-1. Marlins scored 2 to take the lead here at Fenway Park. One more look at the last out of the top of this inning.
My goodness gracious. I'll tell you what, self-defense. Ooh, just the sound alone turns your stomach over a couple of times, doesn't it, when you hear it? David Price, my goodness, took it off the left wrist. We'll see. Can't really tell what's going on, whether he's going to be able to continue or not.
Well, fortunately, and again, hopefully it's nothing serious, but fortunately he was able to get his hands up because that was coming right for his face and his head. And that would certainly not have been pretty. Sandy Leone with a pop-up left side, Riddle back. Dean will call him off and make the play for the first out in the third. So a 2-run lead to work with for Trevor Richards as the number 9 hitter Jackie Bradley Jr. gets set to dig in, then Mookie Betts to follow. 2-game series here in Boston with off days on both sides. Back at it Friday. The South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins Live, the pregame show. We get set for the Toronto Blue Jays. Only interleague matchup against the Jays. In for 3 Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. Aaron Sanchez, Dan Straley on Friday night as Jackie Bradley Jr. pops this one up to Dean. In left, 2 away.
Well, 2 down here. First time through the lineup here in the third inning. Leone and Bradley both chasing change-ups away, weak pop-ups to left. That's the bad contact that you're looking for and the effectiveness of the change-up tonight. Much like Price's splits. 36 pitches, 27 strikes already. That kind of reminds me of the first time through when we first saw Richards against the Boston Red Sox earlier this season. That's what he did. Gave up 1 hit, struck out 4. This time, 1 hit, obviously the home run to Nunez. 3 strikeouts.
Little high for Betts there, a ball and a strike. Just trying to keep an eye on the Red Sox bullpen. A couple of quick outs in this inning, so if there was any sort of medical attention for David Price, after the inning he went right down the tunnel. We haven't seen him pop back out as Betts swings, a ball and 2 strikes. So Alex Cora and the coaching staff, training staff, all figuring out what's going on with David Price. Certainly be something to monitor here, and with 2 strikes and 2 outs, maybe not a long time to monitor it at all.
Well, I don't think any of the decisions have been made, but it sounds to me, or at least it looks like to me, that he's not coming back, that he'll be afforded, whoever comes out of the bullpen will be afforded enough time to get loose, obviously.
Grounded foul by Betts. Flew out to Ortega in the first. Guys are starting to get the blood flowing down in the Red Sox bullpen. Could be an indication that something isn't right. Hector Velasquez, one of the long men for the Red Sox, starts to loosen, but Mookie Betts will give him a little extra time. A solo home run, and it's a 1-run game.
Now this lineup is as relentless as any we've seen this season. So many talented hitters, top to bottom. Really that challenge that presents itself. That second and third time through the lineup for Richards. And this fastball splits the plate. It's up near the letters, and you see what Betts, that athleticism, what he's capable of doing. No doubter. 28th home run on the season. He is inching closer to that 30-30 season. It's only happened 1 time in Red Sox history.
Jacoby Ellsbury in 2011.
That's right. I was getting ready to run his numbers out. Just find it right here. 32 homers and 39 stolen bases for Ellsbury, as you mentioned, in 2011. It's actually been 6 years since we've seen 30-30 even in the sport. You got to go all the way back to Trout and Braun.
That's his first home run since August 9th. You saw Velasquez heating up in the bullpen. 3-1 on Benintendi, who struck out back in the first inning. Chopped right side for Rojas, who flips to Richards. And the inning is over. Red Sox get one back on their second home run tonight. We'll see the status of Price next.
Williams. He is one of the greatest players to have ever worn a Red Sox uniform, and for good reason. Take a look at our Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. He was elected into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1966. He won the Triple Crown twice. He was a 5-time Player of the Year and a 19-time All-Star, and voted to Major League Baseball's All-Century team in 1999. Guys, just an all-around unbelievable player.
Yeah, Jessica, thanks so much. Again, he would turn 100 years old tomorrow. Was called Fenway Park home for a number of years. His number is retired here at Fenway Park. And there is that red seat that is 502 feet away from home plate, where Ted Williams once famously hit one into orbit in right field. Well, David Price's night is done after 3 innings of work. A line drive off the bat of Austin Dean that came right back toward Price. He got his hands up, but it looked like it hit off maybe his left wrist. No official word, but what we do know is that he's out and Hector Velasquez is in. One of those guys who, like last night's starter Brian Johnson, has bounced between starter and reliever for this Boston Red Sox team. A long man who figures to maybe get some distance out of the pen tonight.
Well, interestingly enough, his last 2 outings have come as a starter. He's got good numbers, 303 earned run average, 68 innings of work. And the one thing I will mention here, and I know that there's a victory in this, going back to the ball that Dean hit, obviously Price gets that out at first base, and certainly not a reflection on Price. They want to get him healthy. I think it's the right decision to get him out of there, but the Red Sox bullpen has been roughed up. Last 17 innings, 13 runs allowed, and that even goes back to last night. The Marlins did some outstanding damage against their bullpen. 6.88 ERA over those 17 innings. So maybe there is an advantage gained here for the Marlins.
Well, one more look at the David Price injury that occurred at the end of the 3rd inning. Real speed. Again, thankfully got his hands up. Made the play, got the out, looked right at the left wrist, and then immediately right into the Red Sox dugout, right down into the tunnel. They've gotten that outside of that left wrist
Yeah, you're really just hoping that it's not broken, and that's what, you know, again, get some ice on it and obviously see what's going on. I think it's the right decision. Of course, it's his throwing arm. Again, he was in a position to defend himself. He caught the ball on his way over to first base, but in no way used his left arm, which kind of told me that he was still feeling it. It was probably throbbing big time as he was running over to first base.
And Dean squared it up. It was 102.6 off the bat. So it's a left wrist contusion for David Price, as Miguel Rojas, JT Riddle, and Isaac Galloway will face Velasquez here in the 4th inning. Well, I'm sure the Red Sox hope that it is nothing more than just a contusion and doesn't go on any longer. I mean, again, you're at this point of the season, a terrific run to this point, 91-42, 6.5 games clear of the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
But there are some other things to be concerned with.
And that's the thing. And I know, you know, this is Boston. This is a baseball town. Ground ball to short. Bogarts handles it. First out here in the 4th. You know, the point being that, you know, they got to get their guys healthy. See the numbers. Boston well out in front. No matter how this turns out, one thing that you realize, look at that gap right there. 20.5 games for Tampa. Right. I mean, that's the point. One thing that we know is that the Yankees and the Red Sox are going to the postseason. Now, the Red Sox would love to win their 3rd consecutive American League East crown. They've never done that before. They'd love to win 106 games. They've never done that before.
Right.
But the point is that you've got to put yourself in position for, as you like to call it, the tournament, because you're right.
That's right.
It's exactly what it is. And right now, you're still getting Sale back, and you're doing your best to get, now obviously, Price back, make sure that he's okay.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to FPL.com/beattheheat.
A base hit for Riddle with 1 out. That'll bring up Isaac Galloway. Well, they hope to get Sale back soon. He said recently that his shoulder feels like, quote, Paul Bunyan's ox. So that's how good his shoulder feels. But Velasquez, who's in the game right now, started for Sale on Friday, 8 runs in 2 2/3 innings. Nathan Eovaldi, who they got right around the trade deadline, 9 1/3 innings pitched. His last 2 starts combined, 9 earned runs. And Rick Porcello, who's been very good at times this year, 8 earned runs in his last 12 innings. Now, of course, when the Red Sox have been on this amazing run that they've been on to this point, immediately you start thinking, you know, the '98 Yankees who won 114 regular season games in a World Series, or the Seattle Mariners in 2001 who won 116 games but didn't win it all. But just those big win totals in the regular season. Talked about it with the Dodgers last year. They slowed down. As Riddle goes, throw to second is in time. Sandy Leon's throw and Kinsler's tag. I don't know about that. Well, Tim Wallach is on the phone. One more look. Okay. I think maybe a leather string from the glove may have gotten the thumb.
This darn replay, I'll tell you. So many stolen bases have been taken away from potential base stealers over the last few seasons. I mean, the eye in the sky sees all.
Right. But that wasn't even an overturn. That was one of those ones that, you know, 20 years ago you'd say, well, the ball beats you, you're out. You know that bogus excuse. So now nobody on and 2 out for Galloway. Struck out looking in the 3rd. But he did hit a home run last night to the left of center field over the monster. Comes up empty here in the 4th. First inning out of the pen for Velasquez. 3-2 Marlins. Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Simply Healthcare, live the Simply life. Looking down on Fenway Park here in Boston, Massachusetts. Another packed house as the Red Sox lead the American League East by a sizable margin. Folks here in Boston hoping for another long October, which they have had a number of them recently. But first, got to get through August and then September. And then a very tough American League. Steve Pearce to lead things off. It's Pearce, JD Martinez, and Xander Bogaerts. Pearce struck out in his first at-bat. Swings over the top of that. Change up, 2-1.
You can almost argue that Pearce got the start tonight. Between Pearce and Moreland splitting time at first base, the reverse splits favor Pearce getting the start tonight. Lefties versus righties in regards to Richards. For Pearce, he's had a pretty nice run here. 32 games, Boston Red Sox, 6 doubles, 6 homers, 15 RBIs.
A couple of home runs have accounted for the Red Sox runs tonight as Pearce takes a strike. Eduardo Nunez in the second, Mookie Betts in the third. Cut on and missed. Another excellent pitch by Richards, his 4th strikeout, second time he's gotten Pearce tonight.
Now, if you're dialing up the fastball away to get to the 3-2 count, right back to the changeup and gets it in a great spot. Down in the zone, buries it right out over home.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. JD Martinez cuts and misses. 0-1. Martinez struck out to lead off the second inning. Line right to Castro.
All right, a lot of conversation tonight about fastballs and changeups and Trevor Richards. It's his game plan. We give you 2, same release point. Look at Trevor, still in the position. One is the changeup, one is the fastball, and you look at what it does. Look at the space in between. So the ball out of the hand, you can almost already see it separating. Where the changeup is obviously dragging a little bit behind, and where the fastball is at. So not only, look how the ball is actually changing planes. So 2 things at work, Paul, as we talked about. It's changing lanes, it's moving down, and the velocity gap is extreme. I mean, it's got to be at least a good 2 or 3 feet. So for a hitter, you've got to defend against that right there.
Oh, 1 to Xander Bogaerts, who takes the ball inside.
Maybe the most impressive thing about that is that when you watch the follow through, of course, our eyes are drawn to the balls coming out of his hand, right? As you see the changeup doing its thing, kind of dragging behind the fastball. But when you go back and look at Trevor, that's him twice, throwing 2 different pitches. The mechanics almost identical. We talk about tipping pitches all the time. Hitters looking for any kind of advantage, any kind of hands outside the baseball, tells you a slider's coming. See a guy digging in his glove for maybe that split finger.
It's always fascinated me how hitters, specifically at this level, can pick up on something kind of like innately at the last minute, like something as late as arm speed. Right, nothing with the glove before the pitch or anything. The arm speed, like here comes the ball.
Anything that's different.
That's right. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Richards. Make it 5 on the night. Marlins up a run after 4. And Jessica Blaylock. Marlins with a 3-2 edge on the Boston Red Sox. Top of the order due up for Miami. Rafael Ortega, Brian Anderson, and JT Realmuto. David Price got the start. Has since left the game with a left wrist contusion. So it's Hector Velasquez out in his second inning of work. It's a comebacker off the bat of Austin Dean that got Price in the left wrist. A single for Ortega back in the third. Knocked down by Pierce, finds it, and then finds Velasquez for the out.
Marlins fans join Fox Sports Florida and Coors Light at Twin Peaks tonight in Davie to watch the Marlins take on the Red Sox. So get over there fast. Enjoy great Coors Light specials and win prizes all night long at Twin Peaks in Davie, 2000 South University Drive. Another close ball game tonight. Exciting one certainly last night as the Marlins battled back a few different times. Obviously lost it late. Come out tonight, that offense has been there.
Brian Anderson struck out in the first inning and reached on a fielder's choice and came around to score in the third. So this is the last of 4 meetings between these two teams, and had a 13-inning game that the Red Sox won at Marlins Park back in April. The 1-run game last night. Marlins have played some tight ball games. The other one was 7-3 Boston, but for the most part some pretty tight ball games against a Red Sox team that has just been pummeling the competition all year long. Now that's 126 games of the 130 that they've played, so it's a small sample size, I understand, but Marlins have figured out a way to hang with the Red Sox. Now just got to figure out a way to get over the hump, get a win. That one got Anderson in the back, and he'll take his base 1 on 1 out.
Now, this is the split finger fastball. Clearly see right out of his hand that it was on its way into the vicinity of Brian Anderson. Really nowhere for him to go. Velasquez, 4-seam fastball, sinker, slider, split. We'll see the occasional changeup, 92-93 range. Split, he sits in the 87 to 88 range as well. JT Realmuto has had himself a night. Certainly believe that home run last night unlocked a few things, probably brought some of that confidence back as he turned around 96 miles an hour for his 17th home run. And oh, by the way, 65 RBIs also ties a career high. Came on the double last time up.
Still got a month to work with as this one is tapped into the Marlins dugout on the third base side. 0-2.
Since the home run last night, and that came in the 8th inning, he's lined out, singled, and doubled, all on a line.
Velasquez entered the year, according to Baseball America, as the number 20 prospect in the Red Sox organization. It's been a big part of the Red Sox. I mean, listen, no team gets to where they're at with just 25 guys. So his versatility out of the rotation and bullpen has certainly helped him out. They've been without Chris Sale. They hope to get him back. Who knows what's going on with David Price. So tonight, the role is long relief.
Well, his stuff isn't overwhelming, certainly not comparing it to Price or to Sale, but when you get 60-plus innings of 3 ERA baseball, you're pretty satisfied with your middleman. last night. Johnson did just the same, kind of the abbreviated start. He wasn't going to probably go long last night. Red Sox are piecing it together just a bit right now.
A little easier for Boston and 29 other teams coming up on September 1st when rosters can expand, get some help from the minor leagues as Real Muto strikes out for the second out in the inning. Geico presents this day in Major League history. Tomorrow would have been Ted Williams' 100th birthday, and one of the many fun stories throughout his career, the fact that he homered in his last Major League at-bat, number 521, his 2,654th hit. The eighth inning right here at Fenway Park. It's here, it's Wrigley, it's Dodger Stadium, where you can, see those black and white photos and say, yes, it was right here. It wasn't across the street where that building is now, or over there where that park now stays. It was right here. Like to say hi to those who are watching in the Marlins watch party at Tarpon Bend and Coral Gables. Greetings from Fenway Park. Starlin Castro takes a called strike, 0-2. Castro an RBI single back in the third. Lines that one foul into the upper deck. Nice catch up there. Seems like she was happy and she was sitting next to that guy who may have kept her from knocking over the beverage. Gets away from Leon, and to second goes Anderson.
That split finger bounces in front of Leon. 31st wild pitch. Leon behind the plate this season. Opportunity for Starlin Castro with a runner in scoring position.
Marlins are 6 for 18 with 2 outs in this series. As Castro takes inside, looking for another one of those big hits. Last night the Marlins did score runs, 7 runs on 13 hits, but they certainly had opportunities for more. 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position and 10 men left on base. Tonight 1 for 2. Low to Castro. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Derek Dietrich, who homered earlier to open the scoring, waits on deck.
Nice at bat by Castro, working himself back into this count.
Up the middle, a base hit into center field. Anderson around third. And Starlin Castro has his second RBI single of the game. Marlins lead it 4-2.
Time and time and time again in this 2-game series, we've seen the Marlins take full advantage of opportunity. Wild pitch puts a runner in scoring position. I think Anderson, in fact, the recipient both times. Starlin Castro puts together the quality at bat. 2-seam fastball boring in on his hands. Doesn't try to pull it. Hit it on the ground, stays inside, goes through the middle. Line drive. A 2-out RBI, another 2-out hit for Starlin Castro. He's among the league leaders in hits with 2 strikes. to add to their 2-run lead.
A ball and no strikes to Dietrich, who had the home run, was also hit by a pitch. Left side, fouls it away. The Coors Light refreshing finish. A good way to start the ball game. Got the Marlins on the board down the right field line. Long gone for the homer.
423 feet, no doubt about it. Dietrich knew he got it the minute he hit the baseball. 85-mile-an-hour changeup up, split the plate. Swing.
th home run this season, 12th on the road for Derek Dietrich. Check on Castro, who's back. Went inside, 3-1. It should come as little surprise that Castro has a couple of hits in this ball game. Entered the day a .331 hitter against Boston, third among active players. And Castro's 2 RBIs tonight have helped the Marlins to this 2-run lead in the 5th inning as Dietrich fouls another one back. Enjoyed hitting at Fenway Park the last couple of seasons. It's 2 years with the New York Yankees and game and a half here at Marlins Park, or here at Fenway Park with the Marlins. And he is on the move as Dietrich fouls another one off. The 41st multi-hit game for Castro, which ties Brian Anderson for the team lead. On the move again, Dietrich in the air. This one into center field for Jackie Bradley Jr. Marlins score a run in the 5th. 1-0 on the eve of Ted Williams' birthday. lead as we play on into the bottom of the fifth inning. Eduardo Nunez, Ian Kinsler, and Sandy Leon. Back to a 2-run cushion for Trevor Richards, who has 5 strikeouts through the first 4 innings of work. It'll be Eduardo Nunez to lead things off, who homered over the monster in a 12-pitch at-bat back in the 2nd inning. All right, so 12 pitches that ended with a home run, or like 64 foul balls. Now how does he go after him?
You probably want to see him stay away as much as he possibly can with the fastball. That's the one pitch that Nunez was just more or less trying to defend against. We go back to that at bat, the 12-pitch at bat. It was almost a progression. The first foul ball to the left side was a line drive on the changeup. Then he hit the one down the line. That was the second changeup. The third changeup went over the green monster. Now, he's had a few looks at that changeup. I don't know if he wants to go to it too many more times, but it needs to be down there if he does. Nunez, a very wide open stance, likes to pull the ball.
There's a strike.
Well, that should tell you something right there. That ball catches a good part of the plate, outer third, inside the strike zone completely, and it's a 3-1 pitch. Nunez was taking it the entire time. He wants middle in.
Chop to Riddle to retire Nunez for the first out. Well, a couple of years ago, it seemed like a lot of pitchers, or some pitchers, were getting into that high fastball, big curveball combination, right? So it was like the high fastball looks a little bit like the curveball and it falls off the table. For Richards, and what Don Mattingly talked about yesterday, was because he could spot the fastball bottom of the zone, the hitters have to defend that. And that's what, along with similar mechanics on the 2 pitches and the arm speed and all kinds of things like that, they still have to respect the changeup and the fastball the same.
And I think we've done a pretty good job documenting what he has done differently since coming back. Now, listen, early on, everybody fell in love with the changeup, but in order for the changeup to work, he's got to spot the fastball. And again, we've talked, just a little roller out in front of home, going to go foul, about how he's going to sequence it. We've heard myself, I think Nelly said it a few times, where he needs to find value in his breaking ball. In fact, first pitch of this at bat was a curveball for a strike. He still doesn't throw it a lot. Last time out threw what, 12 of them?
Yeah.
And there was some value, but not a whole lot. Because again, that's a very small number, in 100 pitches. Here you go, we'll show you the numbers. You see how the curveball has come down. That's his last start, August 22nd, and that changeup up near 32%. But what that is telling us is that the fastball has been as effective as it needs to be. Living on the corners, making good pitches.
Lined out to Riddle for the second out.
And in fact, in that start, I was just looking at this a second ago, right? 4 strikeouts on the fastball, 5 strikeouts on the changeup. So listen, we rant and rave about how good the changeup is, how it messes hitters up, messes up their timing. But it has been as much about his fastball command and the ability to get strikes in tough spots in the strike zone as it is the effectiveness of the, well, might as well call it the knuckleball. He throws it as much as he does.
Right.
The changeup, because that's kind of how it behaves.
0-1 to Sandy Leon, who flew out to Austin Dean in left back in the 3rd inning. Pops this one up for Riddle, who is involved in all 3 outs in the 5th. A 1-2-3 5th for Trevor Richards. Marlins up 2. And hello to everybody who is at that watch party. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Jessica Blaylock with you here at Fenway Park. Austin Dean, Miguel Rojas, and JT Riddle due up in the 6th. It was Dean who struck out in the 2nd inning and then lined right back to the mound, a comebacker that knocked David Price out of the game. A left wrist contusion for the Red Sox starter tonight as Dean takes that one low. 1-0 from Hector Velasquez. Next pitch will be number 35 out of the pen for Velasquez. And a high chopper to Nunez, whose throw just beats Dean by a step, 1 away. Miguel Rojas 0 for 2, couple of ground outs. Red Sox in front of the Yankees by 6.5 games in the American League East at the start of play. Yankees trailing the White Sox right now in the Bronx 3-0. Both the Yankees and the Red Sox with walk-off wins last night. Neil Walker, a pinch hit walk-off home run in the Bronx against the Pale Hose. As Rojas grounds one to Bogarts, who throws across his body and gets Miggy for out number 2.
Well, since entering the ball game, Velasquez has lived at the bottom of the strike zone. A number of ground ball outs. Of course, playing off the splitty in the slider.
JT Riddle takes a called strike. Riddle a base hit back in the 4th inning and was caught stealing. Elsewhere, the Nationals lead the Phillies 4-2. That one's in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Phillies have been scuffling a little bit the last couple of weeks. Phillies have lost 13 of 19. A strikeout of Riddle and a 1-2-3 6th for Velasquez.
Park. That includes Lucky Strike Bowling Alley that is right behind me, and one Red Sox player who can certainly appreciate that would be Mookie Betts. Not only is Mookie a big leaguer, but he's also a prolific bowler. In addition to competing in the Professional Bowlers Association's World Series of Bowling, he has also bowled 3 perfect games. Yes, 3 perfect games. Guys, Mookie Betts, the ultimate two-sport athlete.
Jessica, thanks. 3 perfect games. That is certainly nothing to sneeze at. Not at all. Nolan Ryan had 7 no-hitters. Mookie Betts has 3 perfect games. Close.
A little younger, too.
That's right.
He's got a bright future in that pro bowling ranks.
Yeah, if this baseball thing doesn't work out for him, sure. He'll bat second in the inning after Jackie Bradley Jr., JBJ, Betts, and Benintendi here in the 6th. Marlins up a pair. Trying to get out of Boston, out of this 2-game set with a win. Low, a ball and a strike. Jackie Bradley Jr. a fly ball in the 3rd. Hit hard, but right to Castro.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
So Betts digs in, having homered over the Green Monster back in the 3rd inning. At the time, that got the Red Sox back to within a run. Marlins have since added another. Take you back to the 3rd.
Yeah, this 3-2 fastball turned around. Home run number 28. Here's another note for you. 70th hit this season. Leads all major leaguers with 2 strike hits. That was number 70. Starlin Castro happens to be on that list as well. Last base hit to center field. RBI single came with 2 strikes. He's got 61.
I've heard from many folks who keep an eye on all 30 teams, as I know you do too, but I want to get your thoughts and put you on the spot at the same time. Does Mookie Betts have the quickest hands, or at least on a short list? I mean, it's like you can't get it in on him.
I agree. And just tons of power, gets as much out of his frame as just about any player in the game, other than maybe Altuve. Altuve basically, or close to, I should say, the same height and size. Altuve a little bit shorter, but Betts that type of player. Dynamic talent, great hands. It also explains the bowling. I mean that with all seriousness. I mean, when you look at when he's good at a lot of things, great hands, good defender, good base runner, good hitter. I mean, that's kind of his game.
Andrew Benintendi 1-on-1 out.
I think what impresses so many former hitters and players about Betts is the fact that when he starts his swing, and a lot of hitting is this, the adjustment that you make mid-swing to what you see and how you react to it. You see the ball in a certain spot, maybe it breaks another inch, or whatever you're adjusting to as a ball coming in, typically somewhere between 88 and 100 miles an hour,
right,
that he can pull his hands in just that extra inch to get the barrel to the ball, or he can extend just that extra inch to get the barrel on the pitch away. That is, you know, listen, you can't teach that. That is just a God-given gift, and he's got it. It's what so many worked for and worked towards, to have better, quicker hands, quicker hand-eye coordination, those quick twitch muscles, as we call them. Well, he got the whole bag. I mean, he's got him in the legs, too. I mean, he's got some of the fastest feet we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a couple of his home runs. Some of the longer ones he hits, like you watch his feet. Like, it's almost like he's not even completely grounded as he rotates through his swing. You'll see his front foot at times come out and kind of roll out. I mean, he's got so many tools that if any one phase of his game might be slumping just a bit, he's still such a dynamic talent, you don't ever think about giving this young man a day off.
You're right. Baseball America just came out with their best tools issue. I mean, second in just about everything. You talk about the 5 tools.
What's left? I mean, listen, Stanton moved over in Judge in this league as well, so he's not going to get most power. It's just, that's a fact, but there's nothing there.
It's amazing.
He dominates.
And he's good at the 7-10 split, too.
Yeah, and what do we got? 24, 25 years old? Oh,
yeah,
my.
Could be around for a while.
The Red Sox do what's right. He could be here for a long time. You don't want to see him hit free agency.
And check on Betts, who's back, maybe to give Drew Rosinski a little extra time to loosen up in the Marlins bullpen. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Stays to the right side a little bit more than the left. That's why the Marlins have 3 on that side. Here's a called strike, 2-1. Benintendi 0 for 2, a strikeout in the first, a ground out in the third. Inside edge, back-to-back walks with 1 out here in the 6th.
Miami, join us for our neighborhood series. We are hosting a Coconut Grove Day at Marlins Park on Sunday at 1:10 when the Marlins host the Blue Jays. Tickets start at just $12 for all residents. For more information, visit marlins.com/neighborhood.
Next pitch will be number 85, the first 2 walks of the night for Trevor Richards. 2-run game, meat of the order, as if there's a not meat of the order for the Red Sox. But 3, 4, and 5, Pierce and Martinez do next. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
I will say this, the 2 walks through almost 6 innings is not as concerning as the fact that they've been back-to-back, and of course this is the 3rd time through the lineup. Now, Pierce has been a strikeout victim both times. He's definitely shown some vulnerability to the changeup. Let's see if Trevor doesn't factor that in once again.
The 0-1 to Pierce. Just misses low, a ball and a strike. Marlins dugout.
3rd consecutive changeup to Pierce.
Tyler Thornburg up in the Red Sox bullpen as Gruzinski continues to throw in the Marlins pen. Big pitch coming from Richards, a ball and 2 strikes. Red Sox first opportunity with runners in scoring position tonight. They were 4 for 12 last night. Both of the runs scored tonight on home runs from Nunez in the 2nd and Betts in the 3rd.
Well, let's see if he tries to elevate or goes back to the changeup. Throws that changeup once again. Certainly his go-to pitch when he gets in trouble, but Pierce has made a bit of an adjustment in the box. He's so concerned with that changeup that he's now crept up on home plate. He's got his arms almost hanging over the plate, sitting on that changeup. He climbed the ladder just one time. He's been down the whole at bat.
Sets up away, slaps it foul.
Richards prides himself on being unpredictable. You're thinking fastball, he's throwing changeup. You're thinking away, he's throwing in.
2-2. Inside corner for a called strike 3.
Perfect pitch. I know he's going to get a little room on the inside corner here, but we talked about Pierce moving a little bit closer towards home plate. All of a sudden you lose perspective of where maybe that inside corner is. Fantastic job getting it there. You even see the point right there. Watch JT Realmuto. Yes, sir, you just made a pitch. That's right. Big one here tonight.
But not out of the woods just yet. 2 on, 2 out. And JD Martinez. Grounded foul, 0-1. Martinez struck out in the second, lined out in the fourth. Up the middle, past Castro. In to score is Betts. RBI number 111 for JD Martinez. It's a 1-run game.
Well, Martinez extends his hitting streak to 8 games. His 5th RBI during the stretch. And he goes up the middle the other way with just as well as anybody in the game. Castro unable to keep that ball in the infield. Might have saved a run. Betts got a pretty good jump.
Don Mattingly out to make the move. Trevor Richards will leave with a 1-run lead, but the runner's on base, his responsibility. Marlins make the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Again, the runner's his responsibility. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. Loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million, so unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. It is Ruzinski to come in. We have seen him in this spot many a time, to come in a messy situation. More times than not, he has gotten out of it. 23rd game for him this season. He will come in with Benintendi on at second and JD Martinez over at first. Bogart's at the plate in a 1-run game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Paul. This is one of the things he's done particularly well this year. Stranding runners, 13 of 16, 81.2%. Leads the Marlins bullpen. Lefties 237, righties 211. Fastball, splitty, slider. Unscored upon in his last 5 appearances.
Pitch to Bogarts is fouled back. Bogarts a line out and a strikeout tonight. 19 home runs, 85 RBIs for Bogarts this year. He's got 11 ribbies in his last 8 games, 13 in his last 11, 20 in his last 18.
Finished?
Yeah, for now. I hope I'm finished. It's up to Drew Rosinski to make sure I'm finished.
Well, I was sitting there pondering J.D. Martinez and the incredible season that he's had with all the chance for MVP.
Holly, I'm finished.
You got the out. That's what you're looking for.
So are the Red Sox. Marlins with a 1-run lead through 6 here at Fenway Park. Welcome back to Fenway Park. Marlins a 1-run lead going to the top of the 7th inning. Isaac Galloway to lead things off. Then the top of the order, Rafael Ortega and Brian Anderson. As Hector Velasquez is back out there, his 4th inning of work. Came in the 4th inning. David Price left with a left wrist contusion after a comebacker. Price gave up the first 3 runs. Velasquez gave up 1 run in the 5th inning on an RBI single for Starlin Castro. He's got 2 ribbies in this ball game. A couple of strikeouts for Galloway. Told you earlier, the Red Sox bullpen last night, 4 2/3, 6 runs, 8 hits. In August, 83 2/3 innings, a 3.87 ERA.
Well, they certainly have had their issues. That has been a lot of the chatter around town since the Marlins have been here.
Marlins with 7 hits in their box score, including the solo home run for Derek Dietrich down the right field line that got the scoring started in the 2nd. Outside to Galloway. Count is full, 3-2. One low, and Galloway works the leadoff walk. The Toyota Trend all based around Ted Williams, who would have turned 100 years old tomorrow. Hit .406 in 1941. There have been over 19,000 big league players since 1913 have hit 400. 12 before Ted Williams.
That certainly tells you something right there, doesn't it?
It's, yes.
The game is a little bit different, obviously. George Brett really the only one getting close. I was with Todd Helton. It was 2000. It was in about 372 late August, 372, 380 range, and there was a lot of talk about a push, and Helton was having one of those kinds of seasons. But you realize you need the at-bats, you don't need walks, and you got to get 2 hits a day. That's kind of how it goes. 1 for 3s don't cut it. It's either got to be 1 for 2 or 2 for 4 or 2 for 3.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're going to take a bit of a hit. Now, of course, you don't really think about it in that moment. You just kind of do your thing. Helton had one of those incredible seasons going on in 2000.
I believe the closest anyone has come was Tony Gwynn in 1994.
394, wasn't it?
394, didn't finish the season, of course, because of the strike. But if they had.
Oh, I'd bet on it. Believe me, I was on the receiving end of, I don't know, it felt like at least 200 of his hits. I mean, we played I was in L.A., played the Padres all the time. Careers kind of matched up. I can't tell you how many times I bent over to pick up a base hit through the 5-5 hole.
Ortega fouls it back, 1-1. Well, in fact, Gwynn and Ted Williams became great friends through the years. And in fact, maybe one of the best moments, certainly in All-Star game history, but maybe even in recent baseball history, was when the All-Star game was played here in 1999. And those two guys had garnered a connection between the two of them, and of course their love and mastery of hitting, as it were. And Ted Williams came out. They had the All-Century team. And Ted Williams came out throughout the first pitch.
It's what makes baseball great, right? So you've got 2 of the greatest left-handed hitters in the game, and their styles couldn't be far apart. Now, I know when we get into the batting average part of this conversation, it all adds up to the same type of conversation.
Sure.
Point being, Williams known as one of the best pull hitters the game has ever seen. What's Tony known for? Staying inside the baseball and going the other way is better than anybody else in the game of baseball. So, ideas, philosophies similar, contact in the strike zone so different. Hips before hands. That was the idea. The barrel's out in front. Get the barrel there, hitting home runs. We've already talked about the red seat that's over 500 feet away. And Tony had certainly more power than his career probably would tell us. But the idea was it was always about his approach. Stay inside the base. But you think a shortstop didn't park out in the 5-5 hole? As soon as you did, he'd go right back up the middle. I mean, he paid attention to these things.
Lined into right field, a base hit for Ortega. Galloway takes a turnaround second, but he is back. And the Marlins in business, 2 on, nobody out in the 7th. Well, here it was back in 1999, the All-Century team, the All-Stars at the time, all getting a chance to say hello. And of course, that was the first pitch. Been a lot of great moments in this ballpark, certainly in the last 15 or so years, but that one could be paramount outside the World Series. It's going to do it for Velasquez. Florida Lottery call to the bullpen here at Fenway Park.
4-3. Now, Marlins fans, you can join Fox Sports Florida and Coors Light at Twin Peaks tonight in Davie to watch the Marlins take on the Red Sox. Now, obviously, the game's going on now, but as you can tell, it's exciting, and the Marlins are about ready to do some more damage. Hurry up over there. Enjoy some great gifts, Coors Light specials, and win prizes all night long at Twin Peaks. It's in Davie, 2000 South University Drive.
Tyler Thornburg takes over. Third pitcher of the night for the Red Sox. He'll face Brian Anderson with 2 on and nobody out here in the 7th. Anderson swings at the first pitch, sends it out to right field, playable for Betts. Galloway tags for third, and he will advance.
Nice job by Galloway. Ortega obviously not able to move up. Deep fly ball to right field, gets the job done and sets up one of the hotter Marlins hitters over the 2 games here in Boston, JT Realmuto. A couple of hits last night, RBI double, 2 hits tonight. See that batting average creeping up.
Red Sox PR just gave an update on David Price. Left the game with a left wrist contusion. X-rays thankfully negative for David Price. A strike to Realmuto. 0-1.
For Thornburg, 2.57 ERA in his last 15 appearances. 2.31 batting average against. 12 strikeouts, 14 innings. He's been throwing the ball fairly well.
And on the hands, 1-1. Certainly a situation where the Marlins need to cash in. 2 on, nobody out in the inning. Now they've got a runner on at third and 1 out. JT doesn't chase. 2-1.
Thornburg's missed the last couple of seasons due to injury. This is his first year back. Personal hasn't changed too much. Maybe he's lost a tick in velocity, but still has a devastating curveball. Throws it in that 77 to 80 range. Four-seam fastball, 93.
Grounded slowly to short. Bogarts, another double clutch. They get the out at first, but a run will come in to score. 5-3 Marlins.
Now Bogarts is a little indecisive here. He thinks about turning 2, but realizes he's already past second base. That is a really tough flip. You see Ortega sliding in. Just gets JT at first. This has been a bit of a theme tonight, Paul. See if the Marlins can once again cash in with 2 outs. Runner in scoring position. Castro pulled the feed in the 3rd inning. Down to the count, 0-2, battled back all the way to 3-2, drove in Brian Anderson, who had been hit by a pitch. Great at bat.
So Galloway scores to give the Marlins a 5-3 lead. And of course, the reason why I say another double clutch for Bogarts, because on Realmuto's RBI double earlier on the relay throw, Bogarts had a double clutch trying to get the ball home, and Anderson made it basically by the amount of time that it took Bogarts to get the ball out of his glove.
Yeah, the inches that you battle for in every ball game, they show themselves. You got to see them. When you do, you realize this game, almost every one of these games, is always a matter of inches. I mean, what was he, safe at home by what, about a half a second?
Yeah.
That's how good these big leaguers are. It's the one thing that you hear a lot of minor leaguers talk about when they first get here. Certainly a few of the Marlins can speak to this, especially the hitters, how good the defense is at the major league level compared to what you typically see in the minors.
Castro, right center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. closes in and gets to it. 7th inning stretch time here at Fenway Park. Marlins add another, lead it by 2. Bottom of the 7th inning, another tight ball game. Marlins in front 5-3. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth with you here inside the broadcast booth. Again, another great game that starts this bottom of the 7th inning. Eduardo Nunez, a base hit off of Drew Ruzinski. It's been fun. It's been fun to watch and be in this ballpark the last couple of days. Similar to last night, tight late. We'll see if the Marlins can pull one out tonight.
Well, we've had a lot of fun conversation over the last week or so. Even think back into when the team was back at home against the Yankees in a full house. Listen, they get to do it on the road here at Fenway. Packed house, big games. They showed up last night. A lot of things went well, but it didn't end well. Now, tonight, the one thing that we would probably say, well, what have we seen from the Red Sox all season long, as we've told you all at home? Got one of the best offenses in baseball. The Marlins have stayed on it. They've continued to add, just added another run last inning. But again, I know this. The Red Sox are going to fight till the very end. This one's going to be close, I'm sure, as we move to later innings.
Yeah, you see the number 9 in the monitor over Todd's right shoulder. Of course, tomorrow, as we have mentioned, would have been Ted Williams' 100th birthday. Of course, he called this place home for so many years, did a lot of his damage in this ballpark, a Hall of Famer, twice a Triple Crown winner, and one of those players where could you, if you were a kid watching Ted Williams, could you model your game after him? You know how I always say, well, be like him, or was that like a one-of-a-kind?
Well, many of us
approach?
did, absolutely. It's a great question, but I don't know if it's one that you necessarily answer like when you get to the finer details of a person's swing. There's things about my swing that I certainly took from Ted Williams that I learned from him that I applied to my game.
Kinsler off the monster. Played there by Dean. To third goes Nunez. And the Red Sox have the tying runs in scoring position to lead off the 7th.
Now Kinsler's first hit of the ball game happens to be his 400th career double. 36-year-old's had himself one heck of a career. That's a pretty big moment as you see the ball leave the field. That is why. Double number 400 for Kinsler. Once again, the Boston Red Sox back in business. Juan Nieves on the phone to the bullpen. We saw late lightning from the Red Sox last night.
Steckenrider and Conley. A righty and a lefty up for the Marlins, as Blake Swihart will come in off the bench for Boston and hit for Sandy Leon. Leon was 0 for 2 in his 2 at-bats tonight. And Don Mattingly out to the mound, and it looks as though he is going to make a change. Trying to protect this 5-3 lead with 2 on and nobody out in the bottom of the 7th inning. More drama at Fenway Park. It'll be Adam Conley in the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. 5-3 lead. 2 on and nobody out. Adam Conley in to face Blake Swihart here in inning number 7. T-Mobile, built for baseball. We talked about that All-Star game back in 1999. One of the great moments in Midsummer Classic history. The All-Century team was announced at that time, and the current All-Stars all around to see Ted Williams throw out the first pitch to another Red Sox legend, Carlton Fisk. Another Red Sox catcher, Blake Swihart, at the plate. And he takes a called strike. So it's Adam Conley.
Conley snuck into last night's ball game, got an out. It was a big out at the time. The spot tonight couldn't be any bigger. Bottom 7, runners on second and third. Nobody out. 4.02 ERA. Last 3 times out, scoreless.
Line drive, left field, a base hit. Nunez scores up to third. Goes Kinsler, and it's back to a 1-run game.
Now back-to-back hits for the Boston Red Sox. This changeup stays up, finds way too much of the plate. Right about thigh high. It's ripped into left.
Single, a double, and an RBI single for the Red Sox. And now Jackie Bradley Jr. will bat. Pinch hit RBI single for Blake Swihart. It's closed it to a 5-4 lead for Miami. Big swing and a miss from Jackie Bradley Jr. 0-1. Fly out in third, a ground out in the 6th. To center field. Galloway is going to have to play it off the wall. Kinsler will score easily. Being held at third is Swihart. Jackie Bradley Jr. has tied the game.
Jackie Bradley Jr. came up clutch late last night. He does it once again here in Boston. Bottom 7, chasing 1, a long double off the Green Monster. Let's take another look. Slider stayed up at 87 miles an hour. Bradley Jr., he's been all over it here in the second half. That's much better. Driven in. 3 runs in the series.
Now it's Mookie Betts. Strike at 95 miles an hour, 0-1.
Yeah, and this is what the Boston Red Sox will do to you. The complications that you have, even with a base open. You see first base, you say, oh, well, maybe you want to avoid Mookie Betts. Create a lefty-lefty matchup with Benintendi. Well, you may want to go there. Of course, it's a tie ball game, but handles himself fairly decently against the lefties. You may gain a little bit of an advantage, but the point being, there's tons of traffic behind him.
Right center field. That'll one-hop the wall. Red Sox are going to take the lead on a 2 RBI double for Mookie Betts.
5 consecutive hits here in the 7th inning for the Red Sox. It's as if they're executing their game plan perfectly. Bradley Jr. the other way. Betts the other way. Miles an hour off the bat.
Betts was pumping his fist going around first into second base. Benintendi lays down the bunt. Conley thought about third. Instead, Finally gets the first out of the inning. But now Betts 90 feet away from another insurance run.
Well, looks like Don Mattingly is going to make his way out to the mound once again.
Steckenrider coming in out of the Marlins bullpen. Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. We've talked a lot about Ted Williams tonight. Here is the splendid Splinter in his own words talking about hitting. Lines all over here at Fenway Park. His face all over magazines throughout the years. Arguably the greatest hitter that ever lived, and as you just heard him say, that was his goal to have people say that about him. And to this day, people still do about Ted Williams. 7-5 Red Sox. They have scored 4 runs in this 7th inning, and they have jumped in front of the Marlins. Drew Steckenrider in. 62nd game for him this year. Third Marlins pitcher of the inning as they try to get Betts off of third, but he's back.
Now, Brock Holt's going to get the pinch hit appearance for Pierce. Pierce certainly known for mashing lefties. Numbers down a little bit against the righties.
Swing and a miss, 96 miles an hour from Steckenrider, 0-1. Again, Marlins have the infield in, got to keep it where it's at. Miami fought back last night. Do they have another rally tonight? We shall see. Backstop. 1-2. First meeting between Steckenrider and Holt. So no prior history here. Been a super utility guy for the Boston Red Sox last couple of years. Javi Guerra up for the Marlins in their pen.
Steckenrider is not messing around, going right after Holt. 96-97 on every pitch.
Another 2-2 pitch. Did he hold up? Third base umpire Paul Nauert said he did. Is fouled away.
Holt steps into this situation, obviously picking up the pinch hit appearance where Pierce was in the 3 spot, but he's probably betting he's going to get a fastball to hit with the man waiting in the on deck circle, one JD Martinez.
Line down the right field line. That'll score bets. It gets stuck in the corner, and Holt on his way to third with an RBI triple. It's 8-5.
Well, 8 pitches, 8 fastballs from Steckenrider. The last one, the most costly. Holt able to jump on velocity in. Steckenrider had stayed up for most of the at-bat in a way. This ball is going to get held up in the corner. You have to proceed with caution if you're Ortega. You're kind of anticipating the ball rolling around that wall, maybe getting to you, and if it gets hung up, you just got to chase it down.
Not quite sure what that is. Like a modified floss or something.
I'm not going to let you handle that.
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is. A little bit of an Elvis, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sold on it either. JD Martinez intentionally walked, and that'll bring up Xander Bogaerts, the 9th batter of the inning for the Red Sox. That one outside. Single, double, single, double, double, sac bunt, triple, intentional walk. That's the inning for the Red Sox, in which they have pushed 5 across against 3 Marlins pitchers to take an 8-5 lead. Trevor Richards started the game, 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits and 3 runs. He struck out 6. Drew Rosinski, a third of an inning, and then came back to start this frame. He was charged 2 runs. Adam Conley, a third of an inning, 3 runs charged to him. The 3-0 pitch to Bogaerts. Another base hit. And another RBI. It is 9-5 Boston.
Absolutely relentless. Bogaerts 76 RBIs on the season with runners in scoring position. Batting average up over 350 now. And he is the one who's protecting JD Martinez in the lineup. He's 111 RBIs. My goodness.
Another Florida lottery call to the bullpen here at Fenway Park. Red Sox in control. Red Sox. The 10th man will come to the plate. The guy who started it all here in the 7th, Eduardo Nunez. A 6-run 7th for a team that has scored the most runs per game in baseball. Javi Garrett takes over. 4th Marlins pitcher of this inning. In his 24th game, Nunez holds up 1-0. Still just 1 out. And that was on a sacrifice bunt attempt for Andrew Benintendi. Cut on and missed. The ball on the strike. Well, relentless, yes, but also quick strike. Wouldn't you say, this offense?
Absolutely. And, well, you know, part of the problem that you run into if you're going up against the Boston Red Sox is that there's no wiggle room. You know, most lineups in the National League, even a lot of your better ones, they have the, we'll just call it the weak link for the sake of conversation. You know, you can pitch to it, or you can get to it, or you can get to the pitcher's spot or the lower half of that lineup. Well, of course, this is American League Baseball, but a lot of times you run into a position where, you know, Jackie Bradley Jr. is swinging a hot bat right now out of the 9 spot in the lineup. I mean, that's where they're at, and that's what the Boston Red Sox have been doing to the American League all season long. Listen, their home record is what it is here at Fenway Park for a reason. I mean, we found this out last night. They've only lost 18 times here. August is almost over. You do the math. What is that, about 3 losses a month?
Yeah. Yeah. Alex Cora in his first year as Red Sox skipper, inheriting a good team, and is hurtling toward its 4th 100-win season in franchise history, but not since 1946 have they reached 100 wins. Being waved around from third. The throw is cut off as Bogarts hurdles the throw from center field. An RBI for Nunez, 10-5.
Can you be this good and this chill all at the same time? You see Bogarts, he just kind of like lifted his left leg like, yeah, I'll let the throw go through. Yeah. Nunez
acting as third base coach.
That's
as well.
right, on his way to first base as J.D. Martinez comes through. You see the hard hit ball into center field. Now watch Galloway. Let's see if we're going to show it to you. Watch Garrett covering home plate.
Now it's Kinsler. That one into the second deck. Foul, 0-1. Kinsler doubled earlier in the inning, came around to score the 5th run of the game, the 2nd of the inning. One more look at
check this out.
Bogarts.
I mean, that's kind of just where they're at right now. You see the ball coming, just get out of the way. It's all right.
Kinsler, base hit through the right side. Here comes Bogarts. The throw from right is off the mark. 11-5 Boston.
Juan Nieves heads out to the mound. This has been a frustrating inning for the Marlins, to say the least. This isn't the Boston Red Sox benefiting from some balls, finding some holes. This has been a laser show.
Yeah, that's Pedroia's line, the laser show, and has it ever been? 9 hits in this inning. 8 runs. Adding to what was the best team batting average in baseball at the start of play. 12 more hits for the Red Sox. And for the 2nd time this inning, pinch hitter Blake Swihart will come to the plate. Fair ball down the right field line. Nunez will score. It gets away from Ortega. Kinsler in to score. Swihart to third. And the Red Sox just keep pouring it on.
Now, Paul, we talked an awful lot yesterday about the ability to hit velocity. This Boston Red Sox team happens to be a top 5 team at hitting off-speed pitches too, and we've seen a little bit of that tonight. I think the theme is exit velocity, and that's what these guys do. Every hit this inning has been a line drive or a hard hit ball on the ground.
And then on the transfer, the ball just slipped out of Ortega's hand.
Only out in the inning is the sacrifice bunt by Benintendi.
Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. Rocket foul. Well, Jackie Bradley Jr. had an RBI double earlier in this inning. First time this season the Red Sox have scored 10 in an inning. Sure, it doesn't happen very often, but it certainly happened tonight.
The Red Sox offense came into this 2-game series leading Major League Baseball with 706 runs on the season. They've added 21 to 727. It was a ball game after 6.
It was. It certainly was. Tap foul, still 2-2. And through 6, the Marlins, as we talked about earlier, had played the Red Sox pretty tight throughout this season. But you get a sense that maybe this is just a lot of pent-up frustration after what was a rough week for Boston. They had come into this series having been swept for the first time all year, losing 3 in a row to the Tampa Bay Rays. They only scored 5 runs in that series. Came back home where clearly they played pretty well, a Major League best 47-18 here at Fenway Park. Trying to get back on track as they get into the season's final month. 6.5 in front of the New York Yankees in the American League East at the start of play. Yankees trail the White Sox 4-1. So if those scores hold, Boston will extend their lead in the division to 7.5. And you figure for these Red Sox fans who probably thought the sky was falling earlier this week, maybe a sigh of relief. Another hit, another run. Jackie Bradley Jr.'s second run-scoring hit of the inning. And it's back to Mookie Betts, who homered in the third and a 2 RBI double earlier in this frame.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it this inning. A lot of times when you get into an inning like this, you know, most people would think at this stage of the inning that the Boston Red Sox are relaxed and they're loose. A lot of times what you'll see is the hitters get more focused. Reason being, you don't want to be the guy to make the out. Because you feel like everybody's going up there, and if you put together a good at-bat, you're getting the result you want. And a lot of times you'll see that. It's almost that relentlessness that they possess. You can see it in Betts' face. I mean, I was watching him in the on-deck circle. I mean, he wasn't up there, you know, hey, we've scored 10 runs this inning, like, maybe he's going to give an at-bat away. There was no sense of that.
It was 5-4 in his mind.
Right.
And it's been that kind of an inning, hasn't it? An excuse me swing down the right field line that gets Jackie Bradley Jr. to third. It's one of those days.
Well, and listen, credit where credit is due. You're absolutely right. The Boston Red Sox are getting it done. But what's the theme? I mean, we've watched all these at-bats. What are they doing? They're staying inside the baseball. They're going the other way. We've seen Bradley Jr. do it a number of times tonight, including the double off the wall. Betts does it here again for the second time tonight. J.D. Martinez up the middle. I mean, listen, this park will give. It's a very offensive park, especially in the summertime, if you maintain a line-to-line approach, and we've seen that this inning.
Benintendi takes low. It was his sacrifice bunt that was the only out thus far in what has been an 11-run inning.
Probably regretting the sack.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Chopped. Riddle runs down Betts, throws to first, and a double play ends the inning. Boy, Andrew Benintendi might get DFA'd after this inning.
Made all 3 outs.
11 in the 7th. Some changes for Boston. Blake Swihart stays in the ball game. He takes over behind the plate. We saw Brock Holt over at first base. Eduardo Nunez still at third. Bogarts at short. Kinsler at second. Betts, Bradley, Benintendi still in the game right to left in the outfield. Ryan Brazier in his 20th game this season, very effective in 20 innings of work, 18 strikeouts and a 141 batting average against. Derek Dietrich with a fly ball out to right field. When it ever comes down, Betts for the first out.
Brazier has held right-handed hitters hitless in their last 17 at-bats. You mentioned he's kind of been one of the hot hands out of the Red Sox bullpen. Trying to figure a few things out down there. 0 for 3 tonight. Lined one off. David Price knocked him out of the ball game. It's a big moment. Price left early. Marlins got into the Red Sox bullpen. Able to add a few runs, and about halfway through this ball game, Marlins in a pretty good spot to win this one.
Yeah, but then the Red Sox added some runs, and
well, just try not to look at the 14. 2 touchdowns.
Well, they're at the moment 5 shy of their season mark. They scored 19 runs in a game on August 10th against the Baltimore Orioles. They surpassed their mark of 9 runs in an inning back in April against the Yankees. Their first 10-run inning of 2018. They added another for good measure.
To think they didn't take batting practice today.
It was too hot. It was too hot then. The offense too hot now. Three balls and 2 strikes to Austin Dean. The Phillies came back to take the lead against the Nationals, but the Nationals have since tied things up, so the Nats and the Phils tied up at 6 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Elsewhere in the National League East, the Atlanta Braves are trailing the Rays 4-3. That game in the bottom of the 3rd. And the Cubs and Mets played the end of the suspended game from last night. The Cubs walked off in 11 innings earlier today. They won 2-1 thanks to Ben Zobrist. And then at night, or not at night, but 45 minutes after that one ended, the Mets 10-3 winners over the Chicago Cubs.
Did you see the conclusion to the Phillies game last night?
I did. Wild stuff. I don't know if I've seen a game end like that before. But tell us what happened.
Well, runner tagging from second, trying to make his way into third base. Not just any runner. Vincent Velasquez,
right,
starting pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, was pinch running. Decided to make an attempt at getting to third base, and I certainly understand it. I mean, there's elements of this that are defendable, but I'm not willing to go there. Point being that he was trying to get to third base. Of course, it would have been 2 outs in the inning, and of course, you maybe put a little more pressure on the mound. We talk pass balls, wild pitches all the time, but you can't leave early. Left second base early. That's how the game ended.
Austin Dean puts a charge into this one toward right center field, and gone. A home run for Dean. He goes the other way. A solo homer.
Now, 3rd of the season for Dean. He's had some nice at-bats tonight. Now, this is just his first hit, but rewarded with his 3rd home run. Good swing. Small feet, hitting an opposite field home run at Fenway Park. Breaking ball up, stayed right on it, drove it the other way.
Now Miguel Rojas takes a called strike. Rojas 0 for 3 tonight. It's not often, to get back to what we were talking about, it's not often that an appeal actually works.
Right.
You almost never see an appeal work.
Well, the thing about it is the entire Nats team, you know, basically threw their hands in the air when they saw Velasquez take off. Kind of fueled it.
Wide of first, but Holt will have room for the second out.
Well, the home run by Dean, the first hit that Brazier has given up since July 23rd. Pretty impressive run, but it also speaks to Dean. MLB at Bat is your #1 Marlins app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Marlins home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
JT Riddle takes outside. Riddle had a base hit back in the 4th inning. And he sends one out to center field, but Jackie Bradley Jr. with plenty of room to make the catch on the edge of the track. 7.5 in the books. Dean with a homer, with the Red Sox in front. To you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lincoln. Join the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. On the eve of Ted Williams' 100th birthday, the Boston Red Sox, a splendid performance offensively against the Marlins tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, they did Ted Williams proud. My goodness. The bottom of the 7th inning. That is the 3rd inning in team history. Marlins have allowed 10+ hits in an inning. 10 versus the San Diego Padres, August 23rd, 2002. The 12 tonight. And oh yes, the 13 right here at Fenway Park. June 27th, 2003. The infamous Johnny Damon batted around 3 times and nearly hit for the cycle in the 1st inning. Most people who know Marlins history will remember that one.
But do you?
Oh, I remember. You know what I remember about the inning?
Tell me.
The length, the time of the inning. It was like a 45-minute top of the 1st inning. We're not even talking 1 inning.
Right.
It was unbelievable.
Brett Graves delivers outside to Brock Holt. Holt had an RBI triple and scored a run in the 7th inning. And now up the middle, a base hit. The Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day.
Watch this. Oh!
I thought he only had a great arm. Right?
Laureano, I'm telling you, you know what I love is the complete body control as he made the catch and put himself in position to get the ball back. Goes to the slide right in front of the center. I mean, listen, you see that in left, maybe occasionally in right, but never do you really see a center fielder who's going 100 miles an hour back towards a wall, willing to go down, spin back around, and throw back the way that he did. Most guys will make that catch and kind of run into the wall. Trust me, I've done it a few times. There's no slide coming out of this body. But he did. Pulled it off and able to get that throw back in.
Well, that play perhaps made a little easier after they removed Tal's Hill a couple of years ago.
Right.
They had that hill, those that may recall, that hill up in center field that was there for who knows what reason.
Well, that was to help you snap your hamstrings.
That's what it was. Okay,
yes.
good.
For all the center fielders who tried to climb it at 100 miles an hour.
Straight back off the bat of J.D. Martinez.
You ever had that happen in your life? Where you're just running along and all of a sudden, like maybe you're not looking and you realize there's a slight incline and it kind of gets you?
I try not to run too much.
Yeah, okay, well, that's true.
So, no.
Well,
but
I do remember
TV purposes, I'll play along. Absolutely.
I remember Craig Biggio. You know, listen, Craig, obviously Hall of Fame career, tremendous second baseman, but there was a year or two where they put him in center field towards the end of his career.
Right.
And I remember hitting one out there and watching him kind of like try to make the catch we just saw going up the hill. Yeah. And as soon as he hit that first step of the incline, because he wasn't looking for the hill, he knew it was there, but he wasn't looking for it.
Right.
And it, you know, it shortens your leg length.
Yes.
Because as you climb up it, you don't have as far to go to the ground. And what do you think he did? I mean, he just face planted right into the side of the hill.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure a responsible outfielder would do this, but how often do you do that? Because that hill was basically where the wall is now, right?
Well,
or even further. So it was 420 feet out there.
He used to go out there and try and mess around with that hill just to get used to it.
So my point is, a ball that gets out to that hill, you figure is over your head anyway.
Well, you're going 100 miles an hour, if not trying to catch something. That's how far out it was. To your point, you're absolutely right. But in that situation, you're just flying, trying to make the catch.
A 4-6-3 double play to erase Holt. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. 3rd round pick this past year for the Miami Marlins. Tristan Pompey promoted up to Greensboro, from Greensboro to Jupiter, that is, in August. Since then, a 300 hitter, getting on base at a 424 clip, 13 runs, 13 ribbies. Xander Bogaerts takes low. Bogaerts had an RBI single and scored a run in the 7th. In fact, everybody but Andrew Benintendi, Drew Pomeranz loses. Everybody but Andrew Benintendi scored a run in that inning. All Benintendi did was record all 3 outs.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. I mean, he's having a great year. You know, I mean, look at his numbers, but like, you're that guy.
It's one thing to make 2 outs.
We used to say this all the time. And to his defense, listen, we all know what kind of player Benintendi is, but the joke would be somebody had to make the outs. I mean, the game's got to go on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He actually willingly made one of the outs.
That's right. Well, if that doesn't revive the bunt, I don't know what will. You bunt and it leads to an 11-run inning. There you go.
That's right. That should be the greatest example of all time.
Graves gets the sign from Brian Holiday. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Line to Castro to end the inning. A base hit, but then a double play and a line drive, and this one goes to the 9th at Fenway Park. Wrapping up their season series tonight, an 11 spot in the bottom of the 7th inning will certainly be on the docket on the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Jeff Nelson in studio. We'll hear from Don Mattingly after this one as the Marlins will pack up the clubhouse, get on the plane, head back to South Florida, enjoy an off day tomorrow, and then a homestand which will welcome in the Toronto Blue Jays and the Philadelphia Phillies. Drew Pomeranz takes over. A little bit starting, a little bit of relief this year in his 18th game overall. He'll face Isaac Galloway to lead things off here in the 9th inning.
Pomeranz, throughout his career, has actually fared a little bit better out of the bullpen. Came to the Boston Red Sox last season as a starter, though starting has not served him well this season. For his career in relief, 2.41 ERA. 11 starts this year for Boston. 1-5 with a 6.31. 6.31 is complicated, but the 1-5, that's hard to do with this offense.
Galloway walked and scored back in the 7th. we have seen not anybody in the National League West this year, as Galloway fouls this one away, nor the Cleveland Indians in the Central. But we've seen the Yankees, we've seen the Red Sox, we've seen all the teams in the National League. If you were to rank where the Red Sox stand, I know they've got the best record in baseball, but if we look towards October, are they, in your mind, the odds-on favorite to win a World Series?
That's debatable. We didn't see Chris Sale. We certainly don't have a feel for his dominance. We certainly can attest to the numbers that he's put up this year. Of course, he's on the disabled list right now. We saw David Price exit tonight's ball game with a bruise on his pitching wrist. Hard for me to argue against what the Houston Astros have going in their rotation, and I think for me that's still where I go to. I mean, obviously there's a lot of good teams. The Boston Red Sox, absolutely one of them. There's a good look at Chris Sale right there, and he's a big part of what they do. They've got as good a chance as anybody we've seen this season. I say that with complete conviction, although when you know that the Houston Astros starting rotation, with Verlander and everything else they've got going on their Keuchel and everything, just hard to go against them in my mind, especially since they've done it. And they didn't do it easy. And that's the other thing, and that matters to ball players. They generally think that way. They were battle-tested last year. Boy, oh boy. I mean, that was a gut-wrenching World Series. They were pushed. They were tried. Everybody had to dig deep to get the thing done. They did it on the road. I mean, there's a million reasons why you'd look at them and say, okay, that's why that's my team. They were tested that way. Even this, what's been going on with the Oakland A's kind of put, a little back and forth there. They seem to be responding to that as well.
Yeah, Astros needed 7 games to earn the pennant to get through the Yankees, and then 7 games to knock off the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And they took different, many of the Astros took turns stepping into, the spotlight and coming through. That's impressive. Just sitting there necessarily relying on, your key stars over and over again to do it. That was one of the attributes that the 03 group that we had, is that each night we had different stars. Sometimes it would be Pierre or Lowell or Pudge and Niner. I mean, we just had different stars on different nights, and a lot of times that's I haven't even mentioned Miggy Cabrera, for crying out loud. I mean, it's like that's who we were, right?
A walk to Galloway and a ball and no strikes to Rafael Ortega. And for the Astros today, Tyler White was that hero. A walk-off solo home run to give the Astros a 5-4 win over the Oakland A's.
They had to battle back in that game today.
That's right.
They actually had the lead early, gave it back to the A's, snatched it back at the very end.
So now that's a 2.5 game lead with a little over a month to play, a month and a day or two. Cleveland Indians 14 up on the competition in the Central.
That is unbelievable. That division, and the Marlins are going to get to see that division next year.
That's right.
Oh man, they have Cleveland Indians have had the easiest road of anybody in baseball this season. Fastball by Pomerantz. It's by Ortega. The Cleveland Indians are close to 20 games over in their division and close to 20 games over on the season, I believe. That's which kind of tells you that they're 500 against everybody else.
Right. The Indians are losing at the moment 4-3, but yes, 75-56 on the season. The Minnesota Twins are 61-70.
Second place.
In second place.
Yeah. I believe, maybe to put it in perspective, I was looking at this just yesterday. Their win total, the Indians' win total, is identical to the third place Seattle Mariners in the National League West, or excuse me, the American League West.
This one chopped to short. Bogarts the flip, the relay throw, and the Red Sox finish it off. A short 2-game sweep last night, a walk-off win tonight. It was an 11-run 7th inning that does the trick for the team with the best record in baseball, the Boston Red Sox. And they do this on a night which David Price, who had been rolling coming in, knocked out of the game because of a comebacker. X-rays negative on Price. They will hope to get Chris Sale back sometime in September. You'd think you'd hope that maybe the fan base and the media in this city would give them a little breathing room. It's a heck of a ball club. I wish them luck the rest of the way. Marlins Live post-game